The British tabloids have reached a stage of Meghan Sussex coverage where they could probably see her ordering soup and somehow conclude it was a calculated geopolitical operation designed to destabilize the Commonwealth through lentils. And honestly, we need to study this level of obsession in a laboratory. Future historians are going to open dusty archives and discover that while the world dealt with inflation, wars, climate disasters, and AI threatening to replace half the workforce, entire media institutions in the UK were courageously investigating whether Meghan's anniversary photos were secretly candle marketing. Candles. Scented wax. That's where we are as a civilization. So apparently, according to Daily Mail columnist Alison Boshoff, Meghan posting beautiful anniversary photos with Prince Harry was not simply a wife celebrating her marriage. No, that would be too normal, too human, too reasonable. Instead, we are told this was actually a clever ploy to promote candles from her lifestyle brand. And when I tell you I nearly flew into orbit laughing, Alison said we call her horrible, and you know what? I will start. You are horrible. Because taking a happy anniversary tribute and immediately twisting it into some sinister commercial operation says far more about the commentator than it does about Meghan Sussex. Regular people looked at those photos and saw love, family, memories, and celebration. Alison Boshoff apparently looked at them and saw a dangerous candle-based manipulation strategy unfolding in Montecito, like Meghan is some kind of scented wax Bond villain. That level of negativity is exhausting. Imagine being spiritually defeated by anniversary photos and decorative home fragrance. That is not journalism anymore. That is what happens when someone has spent so long covering Meghan Sussex that they begin seeing candles the way conspiracy theorists see red strings on corkboards. And honestly, people calling Alison Boshoff horrible did not emerge from nowhere, because there comes a point where readers stop seeing this kind of coverage as criticism and start seeing it as mean-spirited obsession dressed up in fancy tabloid language. When someone takes a happy anniversary tribute and twists it into some sinister commercial operation, people naturally side-eye the person doing the twisting. That reaction is earned. You cannot constantly project bad intentions onto everything a woman does and then act shocked when audiences think the commentary itself feels bitter, nasty, and deeply unfair. At this point, Meghan could post a picture of a grilled cheese sandwich, and British tabloids would release a 14-part investigative series titled Inside Meghan's Secret Cheese Agenda. Royal experts would emerge from the shadows looking dehydrated and overexcited. Sources say the Duchess intentionally used cheddar to overshadow the king. Another would say the sandwich appears emotionally manipulative. And Piers Morgan would probably combust live on television while yelling about dairy betrayal. Because that's the thing nobody can ignore anymore. The obsession has become funnier than the actual stories. The internet immediately clocked it too. People were looking at this article like, wait, you're angry because a woman celebrated her anniversary? That's the scandal now? Not corruption, not economic collapse, not political chaos, not the fact London rent prices look like ransom demands. No, the emergency is Meghan Sussex posting family memories. And what makes it even more hilarious is that the article accidentally admits Meghan has influence. Massive influence. Because if one Instagram post can allegedly sell products, dominate headlines, trigger international debates, and send entire editorial departments into cardiac arrest, congratulations, you have just confirmed the woman has cultural power. You cannot spend years screaming that someone is irrelevant while publishing 14 articles about her left eyebrow. That is not irrelevance. That is obsession wearing a trench coat pretending to be journalism. The funniest part is that Meghan doesn't even have to do anything. Existing is enough. Breathing elegantly in California is apparently a direct threat to the British tabloid economy. And honestly, some of the online comments absolutely destroyed the narrative better than any PR team could. One person said, Obsessing about this woman's every move sounds like a life well lived. Exactly. Imagine dedicating your professional career to decoding Meghan's Instagram captions like they're encrypted military intelligence. Somewhere in London, a columnist is zooming into a candle jar at 600%, whispering, "What does it mean?" Ma'am, it means home goods exists. Another commenter said, "Your obsession with Meghan is not normal." And there it is, the sentence that summarizes this entire media saga. Because healthy criticism and pathological fixation are not the same. You can dislike a celebrity. That's normal. Humans are annoying, celebrities especially. But when every outfit, every photo, every smile, every candle, every jam jar, every podcast appearance, every anniversary post, every handshake, every hairstyle becomes a national investigation, people start noticing the imbalance. And the public has noticed. That's why these articles increasingly backfire. Years ago, tabloids controlled narratives more easily. They could frame stories and expect audiences to absorb them without resistance. But now, social media changed the game. Now people read these articles in real time and immediately go, "Wait, this sounds insane." Because stripped of dramatic language, the story is literally, "Woman post photos celebrating her marriage." That's it. That's the crime scene. And somehow, this gets treated like Meghan is running a covert operation from Montecito involving scented candles and emotional manipulation. The woman cannot win. If she posts anniversary photos, she's attention-seeking. If she doesn't, trouble in paradise. If she launches a business, she's commercial. At this point, Meghan could rescue a baby penguin from an oil spill, and the Daily Mail would still run. Experts question Duchess penguin motives because the outrage itself is the business model. And this is where the whole thing becomes accidentally pathetic. The British tabloid machine has spent years trying to convince people Meghan is desperate for relevance, while simultaneously making her the center of the royal conversation every single day. They built an entire economy around discussing her constantly. She trends, they monetize it. She posts, they monetize it. She stays silent, they monetize it. Harry breathes near a window, 5 opinion columns by sunrise. It's basically an emotionally unstable subscription service at this point. And the irony gets even richer when you remember the monarchy itself is one giant branding operation. That's literally what royal life is. Carefully staged appearances, image management, public relations, strategic photo opportunities, coordinated messaging, symbolism, fashion diplomacy, charity branding. The firm practically invented institutional marketing centuries before Instagram existed. So watching royal commentators suddenly clutch pearls over Meghan having a lifestyle brand is hilarious. You mean to tell me the people defending a billion-pound monarchy built on public image are offended by candles? Please stand up carefully before the hypocrisy causes dizziness. And honestly, the candle accusation itself sounds weirdly complimentary, because if Meghan can supposedly move products just by existing near them, that's influence most companies dream about. Meanwhile, tabloids unintentionally advertise her products every week. Don't buy Meghan's jam. Now millions know about the jam. Don't look at Meghan's photos. Now everybody's looking. Don't support her brand. Now people are curious. At this point, the British press should demand commission checks for Montecito because they are doing free promotional labor around the clock. Imagine being so obsessed with stopping someone that you accidentally become their marketing department. Shakespeare could never write comedy this good. And Prince Harry must look at all this chaos sometimes thinking, these people really left me no choice. Because the media behavior constantly validates the Sussexes' criticisms. How are audiences supposed to believe the press isn't obsessed when anniversary photos become front-page controversy? It's especially revealing when the commentary turns personal and bitter instead of analytical. You can always tell when someone isn't just reporting anymore, but emotionally invested in disliking someone. That's why so many readers picked up on jealousy in the tone, because normal people saw romantic anniversary photos and thought, that's sweet. Certain commentators saw them and thought, sinister candle propaganda. One response sounds emotionally balanced. The other sounds like someone who urgently needs a vacation and possibly a hobby involving sunlight. And can we talk about how every Meghan story eventually becomes fan fiction? People project motives onto this woman constantly. Meanwhile, actual problems exist in the UK. The economy is wobbling like a folding chair. The NHS is struggling. People can barely afford heating bills. But tabloid newsrooms are assembled like Avengers headquarters trying to determine whether Meghan's anniversary montage was coded candle marketing. Incredible national priorities. And the funniest part of all this is that Meghan and Harry looked happy. That's what really bothers some people. Not the candles, not the photos, not the branding, the happiness. Because every smiling Sussex photo disrupts years of narratives insisting they were doomed, miserable, desperate, irrelevant, failing, isolated, collapsing, regretting everything, and secretly begging to come back. Yet there they are, still married, still visible, still influential, still making headlines without palace permission slips. That reality irritates people who build careers predicting disaster. And honestly, watching the internet roast the article was deeply entertaining because people are tired of the theatrics now. The audience has evolved. Readers increasingly recognize the formula. Take ordinary Meghan activity, add sinister interpretation, insert anonymous royal expert, publish outrage, repeat until morale improves. It's basically industrialized pearl clutching. One commenter saying, "Your obsession with Meghan is not normal," honestly deserves to be engraved onto the headquarters wall of every tabloid newsroom. Because imagine explaining this entire situation to an alien civilization. Yes, these journalists dedicate significant resources to analyzing a former actress's anniversary photos for evidence of candle-related manipulation. The aliens would quietly leave Earth. And honestly, fair enough. But the bigger issue here is how often Meghan gets denied normal human behavior. Other celebrities can launch brands, post family moments, celebrate anniversaries, promote products, and exist publicly without every action being framed as manipulative strategy. With Meghan, there's always this insistence that nothing can simply be genuine, and that says more about the commentators than it does about her. Because cynical people eventually lose the ability to recognize sincerity at all. Everything becomes a scheme. Every smile becomes calculated. Every happy moment becomes suspicious. That's not insight, that's projection. And ironically, audiences are now responding more positively to Meghan precisely because the attacks often feel disproportionate. People don't like bullying dynamics, especially when they become repetitive and absurd. And make no mistake, the repetition is exhausting. How many times can the media declare Meghan finished while dedicating entire ecosystems to discussing her every move? It's like watching someone loudly announce they don't care while following an Instagram account with post notifications turned on. Embarrassing behavior. Also, tiny detail here. Anniversary photos are supposed to be sentimental. That's literally the point. Human beings tend to celebrate relationships by sharing memories. Weddings, vacations, family moments, cute photos. This is not revolutionary behavior. Millions of couples do it every day without accusations of strategic wax-based manipulation. But because it's Meghan Sussex, suddenly people behave like FBI profilers examining evidence bags. At this stage, I genuinely think some tabloids need Meghan more than royal fans do. She drives engagement, she drives clicks, she drives outrage, she drives debate, and the media knows it. That's why they can never let her go, because despite all the screaming about irrelevance, Meghan remains one of the most globally discussed women connected to the royal family. The numbers don't lie. The attention doesn't lie. The obsession definitely doesn't lie. And somewhere in California, Meghan probably posted those photos thinking, "Happy anniversary." Meanwhile, in London, deploy the Kendall analysts immediately. Just chaos. Absolute chaos. But maybe the biggest self-own in all this is that these articles increasingly look Meghan normal and the commentators look unhinged. Because average readers are comparing the two sides and noticing the imbalance. One side, a couple celebrating love. The other, a multi-paragraph investigation into scented candles? That contrast speaks for itself. And honestly, if Meghan ever truly wanted to troll the tabloids, she should post a photo holding a candle, eating jam, wearing beige, beside Harry holding a rescue chicken while soft jazz plays in the background. The British press would collapse into a singularity by morning. Entire editorial boards would need medical supervision. Piers Morgan would probably launch into the atmosphere like a SpaceX rocket fueled entirely by fury. Royal experts would emerge from foggy alleyways screaming, "This is a message." And honestly, I'd pay to watch it. Because at this point, the Sussex media cycle has stopped being journalism and evolved into performance art. One giant, never-ending theater production where Meghan breathes and an entire industry reacts like Godzilla just emerged from the ocean. And through it all, the funniest thing remains this. The people trying hardest to diminish Meghan Sussex are often the ones proving her influence the most. Every angry headline, every obsessive article, every dramatic overanalysis, it all confirms the same thing. She matters. Deeply. Whether they like it or not. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Smiley here, and have a blessed week.